Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are and when you're watching this. Welcome to a new vlog. Hope you enjoyed that last video where we covered a wide range of stuff, including some EVs and that lovely painting by Shraddha. But today is going to be much more exciting because we're going to review my Ather 450X. It's been a little over 6 months since I got it, but haven't traveled much. I think the odometer is around 1100 or 1200 kilometers. We had the second wave of COVID, and because of that, never had a chance to take it out much. For my daily purposes, I use the Nexon EV because since I got this vehicle, 3 months was summer. So hoping to use it more going forward because the weather's going to get better. And it felt like a perfect time to do an ownership review of the Ather 450X because we have two new exciting EVs in the market. They are very exciting, but let's see from an owner's perspective if Ather 450X still makes sense. Shall we? As a lot of you know, I'm a big fan of electric vehicles, and in case you haven't, please check out my previous videos. There are a dedicated playlist section for electric vehicles. If you like them, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share the content because we're close to 100,000 subscribers and would love all your support. And in case you are 4 out of those 10 people who are seeing but not yet subscribed yet, it would be a great motivation if you just hit that subscribe button. As I was telling, I'm a big fan of EVs. That is not something new. But after getting the electric car, I wanted something, a scooter to replace my Apache. And that's when I came across the Ather. At that point of time, Bajaj Chetak or TVS iQube was not easily available. And Ather was very exciting because it had that unique, distinctive look, and also they have gone quite a lot in the market. They're established. Like 450 was available in Bangalore and Chennai for almost 1.5–2 years. So they have been in the space and it gave me more confidence. So I wanted to try it out. And when they announced the 450X, it was super exciting. I was one of the first to book. Originally, the price of 1.6 lakhs seemed pretty high. I was in two minds whether to go for it or not, but when I did the math, a petrol competitor like an Aprilia SR 125 or SR 150 would cost 1.35 on road. My Apache RTR 200 costed me 1.38 lakhs. This was way back in 2018, and it had similar performance, maybe less luggage storage too. So when you do the math, that extra 20,000, if you travel at least 10,000 kilometers in a year, you would definitely make it up because this would cost just 1 rupee per kilometer, whereas a petrol scooter would cost 3 or 4 rupees per kilometer. Anyway, once I did the math, it felt like a straightforward purchase, so I went ahead with it, and the purchasing experience was so easy, so good, guys. Like within 1 hour, I finished the payment formalities. In a day, I finalized the color that I wanted to take. This video will be primarily more about my experience since owning the scooter, so definitely go check out the previous videos if you want to know how the purchase experience was like. I'll share the link here. This is a niche kind of bike. It doesn't appeal to everyone. The design is something that is interesting. It is not universal like the Activa. It is much more leaner, thinner. If you like the design and if you like the performance after a test ride, this is one of the best electric scooters that you can buy in the market right now. I mean right now. We'll talk later in this video about competitors and all, but for now, let's get to see why I love the design so much. So the first thing you notice with an Ather electric scooter 450 or 450X is just the design. It's so simplistic, but there's still some sharp lines, like how rear footrest is integrated into the body, and also those nice sharp lines at the front section. It's a unisex motorcycle. In other words, it will appeal to both the genders. I wanted something bigger in proportion. Even now, I would still prefer a bigger size Ather 450. But on a whole, I love the design. I love the sharp lines. The most attractive bit for me is actually the front portion. The front 3/4, when you look at it from a angle, it looks very sleek and sharp. The rear can be a hit or miss. I'm not a big fan of the stoplight at the rear. It's it can be a better LED. And talking about lights, their under seat storage light is one of the best implementations I've seen. It is brilliant in darker conditions when I have to find something from the boot where there is hardly any light. This works brilliantly. Talking about boot, one thing I would probably find a miss in the boot is if they had a USB port. That would be amazing. Unfortunately it doesn't, but it works. The boot space can take one helmet, including the charger, the portable charger that comes with the scooter. Another interesting bit about the design is the seat, because that's where most of us spend our time, right? Initially when I test rode the scooter in Bangalore, I didn't like it because I was slipping forward, and for my proportion, a 6-foot guy who weighs almost 85 kilos, it kind of feels like a narrow scooter and I keep slipping forward. So the ergonomics are not the most perfect for my proportion, but if you're like, let's say 5'9", 5'10", and if your inseam is not as long as mine, I think this can be a better scooter. So definitely go for a test ride and see how the bike feels, the ergonomics feel, how the handlebar moves, turn left and right, and see if your elbow is hitting something or not. All these matter, because the moment you go for a longer test ride and check out their performance, it's the most exciting that can happen to you. I fell in love with acceleration. It can do 0 to 40 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. Wait, why are we talking about acceleration and performance here? Let's get on the bike and see how it accelerates. Performance is probably the most exciting thing about this scooter, but at the same time it has good enough brakes. Like, it doesn't come with ABS, but it has something called combi braking system. So when you apply this, both front and rear are applied. If you press the right one, it's only the front brake. But performance is something this I fell in love with instantly, man. I didn't expect I will fall in love with something which has around less than 10 horsepower, but this has around 26 Nm of torque, and all the torque can be felt instantly, like almost instantly, because it all depends on the motor, how strong the motor is. See that? Braking's really good. I mean, initially from the pre-launch, they toned down the braking quite a bit because a lot of reviewers were complaining apparently the braking was too strong and jerky. I didn't find it too strong and jerky. In fact, I wanted the stronger brakes. This is so much fun that I always wish to stop ahead of the traffic when I'm at a signal light and there is red light, because those 0 to 40 runs at the signal light are so much fun. You can do a 0 to 40 in little over than 3 seconds. I did it in 3.1 or 2 seconds, I guess, but it is so much fun. Yeah, this is the eco mode. So to change modes, you just use this one, and that's the realistic range that you get, 49 kilometers in warp mode. I have already consumed 3% of the battery, so yeah, around 45 to 50 kilometers in warp mode. Sports mode 58, in ride that's 68, and in eco 82. I typically ride in sports mode because that gives me the flexibility to suddenly overtake something. Like, I can accelerate quickly, go up to 60, do an overtake, and then come back to a regular cruising speed. Because if you're traveling around 40 to 50 kilometers, this gives the best range. Anything beyond that, you're consuming a lot more of the battery. So for most electric vehicles, the consumption is measured in watt-hours per kilometer. So I was averaging around 30 watt-hours per kilometer, and with that the range is almost 90 kilometers. Realistic range, guys. Like, if you stop for maybe half a day or just travel 15 kilometers, go home and then come back the next day, do another 15-20, then the range is around 75 to 80, because the standby capacity of this battery is not that great. It discharges battery like almost 2-3% overnight. That's quite a lot more than it should actually. If you ride non-stop around 40 to 50 kilometers per hour, expect anywhere between 85 to 90 kilometers on a full range. Eco, the top speed is limited to 50 kilometers per hour. I would rather ride 40 to 50 kilometers in sports mode, because the top speed is not limited and you're not utilizing the full battery capacity. That's just a non-scientific observation. This is the ergonomics that I was talking about. Like, my knees are pretty bent, and this is the typical riding posture that you have. The mirrors are pretty good, by the way. The adjustment is a little finicky, but they have good YouTube videos on Ather's channel to show you how to adjust these. This is what I was talking about. Like, I want to overtake this car, I want to have some power, so I can overtake them and get back to normal speed. If I'm in eco mode, the speed limit is at 50 and I'm traveling at 45, I can't overtake like that. So there's a slightly open stretch where I can do 0 to 40. We'll do it in warp mode. Okay. That was quick, guys. If I have to, I don't have a V-Box tool to time it, but I'm sure that's around 3 seconds. Like, that was super quick. As you can see, since I charged it fully, 6% of battery, I've traveled 5.5 kilometers. So that's a realistically good range that you get with this scooter. And the top speed of this scooter that I tested is around 90 kilometers per hour. It can vary with the person's weight, the road conditions, wind resistance. Quite a lot of factors go into top speed. So we looked at acceleration, we looked at top speed, we looked at braking. What else would be in terms of performance? If you have a pillion, then eco mode is not at all recommended. I mean, you can travel, but adding that extra weight slows you down quite a lot. So the bare minimum is ride mode. Sport mode is the ideal mode if you have a pillion, because you can do still quick overtakes and all, and the range would vary slightly because of the extra weight. Make sure you have the tire pressure checked. Going to a fuel station to check tire pressure was kind of odd. I typically do it at home, but originally there was an interesting feature of tire pressure monitoring system which was supposed to come on this scooter. I don't know if it's shelved or not. It would be perfect to check the tire pressure, but it is going to take the price up. One more thing about performance is you can have regen. You just need to twist the throttle, see how the speed is coming down. If I keep the throttle normally, the speed comes down, but not as aggressively. So I wanted more regen in this scooter. Regen can help you get better range. Maybe they were concerned it's going to increase the battery heat. This is very active in nature, like you have to manually do it. It's not automatic. It does switch to eco mode when the battery is low. So there are some certain smart features. And talking about smart features, like this screen is pretty good here. Like they have an app which is pretty smart in notifying you where the scooter is, where are the nearest charging station. Like I can navigate to my home. I'll do a U-turn here and show you. That navigation is pretty good, and they do software updates, over-the-air updates so frequently, like it's faster than your phone. And they have some interesting updates. Like recently they added music, and this handles brilliantly, man, because of the low center of gravity with the EVs in general. So let's say I want to go to Chutney's Kukatpalli. It's a very fast system. So this is how navigation would look on the scooter. It's a lovely 7-inch touchscreen navigation. You can't obviously touch and do anything while you're riding. Not safe. It's a pretty accurate navigation system based on Google Maps. Not the same one that you get in your phones, so you won't get traffic and all. This is quite a lot for a scooter here. So you can answer calls, listen to music, use navigation, check your range, find nearest charging locations, restaurants. You can check the status of your scooter's battery, see if it is, how much it has charged, if you have kept it for charging. In case you are unable to find your scooter in a mall, you can check Google Maps to find the exact location. So there is an inbuilt SIM, a 4G SIM that's doing all the job.
So those are my impressions about the performance and features of the Ather 450X. Let's talk about two other important things: charging and infrastructure. About charging, we have two options: a slow charging and a fast charging option. Slow charging happens through a 16 amp socket. In case you don't have a 16 amp plug at home, you can get a dot charger installed by Ather. That's an easier setup and kind of waterproof. The portable charger works better for someone who travels a lot, who thinks they might find spots where there are no fast charging options, or they might get stranded. But with a fast charger, where there are at least, I think, 15 of fast chargers in the city at various locations, you can get up to 15 kilometers for 10 minutes of a charge. So full charge would take anywhere between 1 to 1.5 hours, but 0 to 80% can happen in an hour, which is pretty good. Unlike Tata, Ather is not charging for their fast charging thing, which I think is a brilliant move, because it will help alleviate that discomfort that even 1% of discomfort people might have with adopting to an EV. In my honest opinion, buying an EV is a bigger challenge than adapting to using an EV. In other words, if you purchased an EV, you can definitely live with it. Like 80% of the time you are charged at home. That only 20% of the time is when you go out, and in those 20% of occasions, very rarely would you feel like you want to charge. I myself have probably charged once or twice in the last 2-3 months outside. I didn't require a fast charger even in the car or in the scooter. Scooter probably a bit more than the car because the range is less, but with the new scooters that are coming up in the market like Ola and Simple One, the range is much higher, so that tension is removed quite a lot. And that's a perfect segue to the next and final section. Is Ather 450X still a good bet considering what Ola and Simple One are doing in the market? I think Ola and Simple One look amazing on paper. Ola, with their branding and also the backing that they have, the financial backing that they have, can do a lot in this space and much more quickly. So I predict that they're going to dominate the space, but I'm going to reserve my opinions till I test ride that vehicle. I still haven't had an access. I'm trying to get access to an Ola S1 or Pro or S1, but it's going to take time. But whenever it's available in the market, you can definitely expect to see a review or first ride impressions. And on paper, Simple One looks to be the best because it has better price, better range, better performance. Those are three things very hard to get, guys, because the moment you increase a battery capacity to want more range, the weight of the scooter increases and the performance decreases. Let's say you want more performance, you would use a bigger motor, and the moment you use bigger motor, it uses the battery power quite a lot. I think it's going to be pretty hard for Ather to keep up, but the thing that goes with Ather is they already have a lot of showrooms across India. They have numerous fast charging points across multiple cities, so they're well established and they have at least 1 year ahead in comparison to Ola and Simple One. Both Ola and Simple One are priced brilliantly well. So there is a lot of things that are happening in the EV space. It's exciting. For a consumer's point of view, I'm thoroughly enjoying 450X for my daily needs. That's my short take on the Ather 450X. It's not a detailed ownership review and I haven't ridden tens of thousands of kilometers, but I get a pretty good idea of how the scooter is sustaining. Till now, there are no rattles or anything. On a whole, I'm a very happy customer. I enjoy my scooter quite a lot. There are a few niggles here and there, but part of any scooter, you'll find that definitely on Ola and also Simple One. For now, I'm pretty excited to see how the market evolves and hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching so far. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and in case you're watching this in the night time, have a good night and take care. Bye bye.